Welcome back, everybody. It is day 2 here at E3 2019. I'm Andrea Renee, live on the Facebook gaming stage with my boy Jump, as always. And we've got 2 special guests from Gearbox Software here. We've got Paul Sage, the creative director, and Randy Varnell, the narrative director of Borderlands 3. Thanks so much for coming by, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. This is exciting.
I've been looking forward to this one. Obviously, we had the opportunity to work together at the Borderlands 3 reveal not that long ago. It was a fun time, a blast getting to get hands-on with the game. September cannot come soon enough, but you guys have some new stuff that you're showing here at E3.
We do. We have a lot of new stuff. You know, we are introducing a brand new planet with Eden 6, right? It's got a Louisiana Bayou vibe. We're showing off Mose, one of our new Vault Hunters. Right?
Yeah, Vault Hunters with Iron Bear.
Yeah.
Our action skills, she actually summons a giant mech that she rides around in the battle that you can tweak out however you want. Really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. So what was really great that I loved personally about the reveal is the new skill tree system that you guys are implementing and how it really lets players customize how they want to play their Vault Hunters. So can we talk a little bit about, is it Moz or Mose?
Mose.
Mose.
Yeah.
Mose's skill tree system?
Sure. So Mose, she has hard points, right? And that is basically...
Well, the mech does. She doesn't. If you try to target something on Mose, she'll probably get very upset.
Wow, what a correction. Iron Bear has hard points. Now I'm embarrassed.
It's a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
Randy just calling you out.
Exactly.
Sorry,
no
you'll get me
shame.
later.
I wasn't embarrassed about that. I was just thinking hard points too literally. Okay, so anyway, she's got like a flamethrower. She's got a rail gun. She's got a minigun. She's got, man, just a ton of
grenade
different
launcher,
weapons.
missile pod, I mean, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
So, and the point is that we wanted people to be able to take the Iron Bear and make it play the way they wanted it to play. So you can pull any one of those hard points from any one of her action skill trees, and you can build up her action skill trees any way you want to. There's one called Bottomless Mags. Bottomless Mags is kind of my personal
really
favorite.
cool.
Because it's you never have to reload if you play it right? Like if you do critical hits, you can get a bullet there and it goes back into your chamber. And so the whole thing is just to keep firing your guns with Mose. And so I love that skill tree. That's a lot of fun. It's just about continuing the action all the way through.
And I think it's really cool. Go ahead.
No, you please.
No, I was just saying, I think one of the great things about adding that to it as well is with every new iteration of Borderlands, the community has been widely excited about how the fact that they get to connect with these new Vault Hunters and they get to really see the narrative through their lens, multiple playthroughs and whatnot. What's it like being able to introduce these new Vault Hunters such as Mose now that you have the complexity of that skill tree added to the mix?
Man, it's like all the emotions at once, right? It's exciting and intimidating and scary and fun and amazing. Like, we in the narrative team at Gearbox, along with Paul and Randy and a bunch of others there, who worked really hard to be sure that we're meeting all the expectations and even exceeding them, right? The new Vault Hunters are super cool. Like, in fact, right now, we've even teased a little bit of background for them. We just released a new DLC, right? Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary.
I was so bummed and excited at the same time because I'm like, I'm at E3, I can't play it.
There's like, it's the worst thing about E3 about doing what we do is we get to see all of these awesome games and it's like, so you can play it now. We're like, no, we can't.
No, we are so excited about the story for Borderlands 3 that we had to spit out a DLC for Borderlands 2 just to get everybody pumped and ready again. And observant players, I've been watching some of the feedback and players having a good time. They're already finding some little teases and tweaks about that are talking about our 4 new Vault Hunters. You know, Zane Flint, who's tied into the Flint family in the Borderlands lore. Amara, the Siren, the big Siren brawler that you got to see and show off.
She's going to probably be my bae, I think.
Right. Mose, which we've got on the floor here at E3 playable, and then Flak, the Beastmaster that we haven't said much about whatsoever.
My favorite one that I'm looking forward to, hands down.
Oh, all right.
Flak is going to be awesome. We're going to say a lot more about Flak at Gamescom. We just announced that Flak is a true pet class, the Beastmaster, and we announced just a couple of days ago the voice actor for Flak, the amazing Sung Won Cho, ProZD. A lot of people have watched him on. A really cool dude. We really like him.
Awesome. So this new DLC, is there anything you guys are focusing on with it? Are you talking about how long it is, or are there specific story elements from Borderlands 2 that...
It's a full DLC, so it's similar in size to the other 4 DLCs that we've done. It's got a huge main campaign that talks about it, and really, narrative-wise, it's the story of Lilith. If you remember where we left off with her on Borderlands 2, she'd kind of taken over the Crimson Raiders from Roland, who didn't quite make it all the way through. I guess that's okay to say that.
I think it's spoiler at this point.
I think it's been long
2012.
So it's really how she deals with her coming to power. You know, we've got our ship Sanctuary, and it's immediately threatened at the beginning of DLC, and she has it tests her commander skills, right? And of course, she's carried through. You've seen her at the beginning of the reveal event. She's in Borderlands 3, so surprise. She lives through the DLC. I guess we could say that too. But it really is watching Lilith come to power and deal with that. And we bring a lot of the friends back. But the cool thing it really does is it ties together. We had several other games since Borderlands 2. We did Borderlands the pre-sequel. We did Tales of the Borderlands with Telltale, God rest her soul. Really cool games that talked about a lot of characters. And not all our players got a chance to really tie all those threads together. So one of the things we did very intentionally with this DLC is gave a lot of information that brings back our favorite characters, ties those plot threads together, and really gets players right set up for what's going to happen in the opening volleys of Borderlands 3.
Yeah, I think it does a good job of really bridging the gap, between the two different stories, or the lengthening story really more than anything. But
story,
I will say that if you haven't ever played a Borderlands, you can get right into Borderlands 3
That's right.
and feel great about it. We do a soft introduction for everybody, assuming that nobody's ever played it, but still paying homage to the people who have.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys are giving people so many ways to play it now. I mean, the announcement on the Xbox stage about being included in Game Pass with the collection. I mean, it kind of no excuses really at this point.
There really isn't. I think the Xbox Game Pass is probably the biggest thing with that. I was literally thinking as we were standing there, okay, all right, I might want to replay through 2 and have some third. I know Admiral Baru, of course, an avid fan, has been doing some random playthroughs on. I'm like, all right, I need to get on it. And then lo and behold, at your briefing, you guys announced that the Handsome Collection is on. So you're right. It adds no holdbacks.
Really great incentive to jump in and play. And if you're a fan of the story and the franchise, to me, it's such a great replayable game. I think I have about 400 hours in Borderlands 2 after we shipped the game. And I played it a lot before we shipped the game. I just had so much fun playing through with friends and playing through the DLCs and all that. It's so much fun to get to work on a game that is a game that I would buy if I weren't working on it, right, as a consumer. And it's a good. And I'm having the same feelings about Borderlands 3. Literally, just the last couple of months, it's like, stop playing and fix bugs. Stop playing and fix bugs. It's so good. It's so good.
Well, you definitely want to put that polish in there for sure.
Absolutely.
Because when you have over 1 billion guns in your game, that's sure to break something along the way.
Now, that number, again, that's not quite accurate. Just because we stopped counting and we're just like, okay, well, it's something over 1 billion at this point, right? There's only so much math you have time for to count the number of guns we have.
So I personally liked when you were going with a bazillion. I thought that it was a fun number, but
That's still true.
But then I got into a very heated debate with the girls on my show on What's Good about is it 1 billion or a bazillion, because they changed it, in the new trailer.
Yes.
So this is really your own fault.
Sure. Okay, so I'll take the credit for making math teachers around the world happier.
I was like, wow, everybody's taking shots at you now. I feel like I need to sit next to you on the couch now.
He's great.
That's right.
Great. But let's talk a little bit about the guns. Obviously, it's a first-person shooter. The guns have their own unique personalities, their traits, and there's obviously not just more of them, but there's a greater variety of them this time around as well.
That's right. There's one of the things early on in the project that we set out to do was we talked about okay, how can we make the guns, even more gameplay centric around the manufacturers, right? So we thought about it. We were like, okay, Atlas, what if we made those guns, be homing, so you can shoot a bullet, you can shoot your gun straight up in the air and have the bullets track to your targets. What if Jacobs had a ricochet effect where you shoot somebody with a crit and it ricochets to the next guy. Cool. We put shields on the Hyperion. And the reason is we wanted to have such, a diversity of guns. I'll say something here that I haven't really said much. I am a nerd about Ratchet and Clank. And I think those guys do great guns, and it's such inspiration for hey, let's take this even further with our guns. Let's make our guns, really sing. And so there's inspiration in a lot of the different games we play, So I think our guns stand out on their own, but the legendaries we haven't even talked about. I talked about one gun yesterday. I won't talk about it anymore.
Oh, wait, what? We're not good enough to talk about the legendary guns? Is that what you're trying to say?
Go ahead, Paul.
Oh, Lord, I dug a hole.
PR's already mad at you. So you're in the hole now. You just got to keep digging. It's fine. Please.
There's a mission called Dump Truck in the game, and if you shoot him in the butt, you get an optional gun reward. And
okay.
And
it's called
the butt plug.
I see why you got in trouble.
And so you can knock people back with this gun. It's stupid fun where it has even more knockback abilities. It's not the highest damage, but it's just fun to run around and shoot with it. So.
I mean, but that humor is quintessential to Borderlands.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
I think so. I think the goal is to make sure that it feels genuine. If it ever feels forced or doesn't feel right, then you have to throw it out of the game. And you know, we have a mission we were talking about earlier called Porta Prison. You know, and again, I don't want to spoil it, but if you've ever known somebody that was on the John too long, this is the mission for them.
Oh gosh. Now, you know, speaking to that, and you know, keeping things genuine. It's been what you said, 2012, if I'm not mistaken, since Borderlands 2. So 7 years later, from the narrative perspective, what sort of core elements are you guys trying to keep genuine to the Borderlands franchise, but still making sure that we have this new, fresh experience with Borderlands 3?
So we've got a really interesting continuity story. You know, Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 2 is 2009 to 2012, and there were 3 years between those two games. And this has been 2012 to 2019, 7 years.
Yeah.
The narrative of the universe is actually aged in this, it's just like us, 7 years between the two games. So there's a lot of points of continuity that we have to caretake. We've got a huge cast of characters now, right? Because we don't ever throw any characters away. We keep them bringing back. And our fans, oh my gosh, all you have to do is Google cosplay and you see how much love our fans have
And they
for our
don't
franchise.
stop. They don't stop. You still see
it's
Borderlands.
great.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be real careful that, one, the characters in 7 years, I mean, for some characters, that makes a big difference. Like we were showing in our E3 footage, Tina, who used to be Tiny Tina, who's now 20 Tina,
deadly
or not so tiny.
13-year-old.
Right, she's 20 now.
She's tweener?
Right? And we even brought, we brought Ashley Birch back to do the voice of Tiny Tina.
Fantastic.
Great job, yeah.
And when we were first working with her at the beginning of the project, and we had the first samples of Tina, we actually brought Ashley in and like, how does Tina grow up? What is Tina like? And we worked with her really closely, and we found a good voice, and kind of what you're talking about, Bill. Like, we've got to be careful that you never lose the Tina-ish, but she's not 13 anymore, so we've been really careful to think through our characters and be sure that in the spirit of the characters, we keep that continuity through. Of course, you know, the big continuity thread through, I think, all of Borderlands, not only is Lilith, who is very important. We did a whole DLC now just about her. But the vault map, the vault key, you know, right from the Borderlands 1, and it goes through Borderlands 2, and you do all that. At the very end of Borderlands 2, you get that great montage with Claptrap holding up the map of the universe. And that's now a big element that you're trying to recover from our villains, the Calypso twins, in Borderlands 3. And that map is going to be useful. Why, Paul?
Well, the map is useful because it's going to lead you to all the different vaults that we have in the game. So.
Which are on other planets.
Absolutely.
Which is so cool. So we get off of, you do start on Pandora, which I think is really cool. Talking about continuity, that was important for us.
Right, yeah. I think, going back a little bit to what you said about NPCs, one of the things that is a hard process in development is which NPCs actually get to make it into the game. Because we have such a pantheon of NPCs to choose from, right, that it's like, okay, well, which one do we want to be out there? Because it's not about who our favorite is, it's about who works with the story and how much time do we get to spend with them to give them the time with the player that they need so the player likes them still and gets to know them. So if anybody's favorite is left out, it's not that we wanted to do that, it's more that we want to respect the NPCs we have in the game. So huge efforts to bring just a ton of NPCs. This game has a bunch of them. They fight alongside you, but also making sure that you spend quality time with them. Is that, quality time?
Quality time.
Well, what I really loved that you guys showed back at the reveal was not only some of the NPCs, but where they're at inside the new Sanctuary 3, because it's now this massive spaceship that you get to obviously travel to other planets in, and we got to see a little bit of Hammerlock's room. But I think it's cool that as you kind of interact with them, it kind of changes the look of Sanctuary as well.
That's right. And we showed Claptrap just briefly there, and you see Claptrap, and that's actually a new feature of the game. There's something called crew challenges,
right?
And Claptrap, who is always lonely in his own way, is endeavoring to build a girlfriend, and so there are Claptrap units scattered throughout that you take pieces off of. That help Claptrap achieve his goals.
It's sort of amazing and sad at the same time.
that actually is like the byline of Claptrap, amazing and sad at the same time.
Right.
Claptrap has no middle ground. He's either on top of the world or just absolutely down in the dumps, pathetic. So, but we love him, and if you love him too, you can help him out in this game and maybe help him achieve his dreams.
Yeah.
Well, I want Claptrap to find love for sure. I have my own little personal collection of Claptraps back at the studio. The Gentleman Claptrap is probably one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
So with the monocle, very nice. Are outfits coming back for Claptrap in this game?
There are different...
Or is it just different different claptraps.
There are different units scattered throughout, but I think the claptrap you know and love is
classic claptrap.
Yeah,
mostly classic claptrap. Yeah, there's some stuff. But yeah, you know, in the lore, they're like thousands and thousands of claptrap units that were
I remember his
made.
DLC.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. More sadness.
We won't go down that path.
But now we're looking for love in all the right places, so hopefully we'll figure that out.
exactly.
Now, thinking about some of the other new features and things, I know, of course, throwing homage back to the first Borderlands is vehicles and actually being the traversal aspect of it. Do you want to speak a little bit more on what can we expect and how that traversal will change as you go from planet to planet?
Sure.
Yeah.
So vehicles are something that we looked at. You know, we looked at the control scheme for vehicles and, you know, wanted to make them feel tighter, feel better. And actually what's interesting is, you know, we are a multi-studio company now. So we have friends in Quebec that really took on vehicles and gave them a life of their own. But there are part systems associated with the vehicles. So now you can go out into the world, you hijack a vehicle, you bring it back to the catch-a-ride, and once you bring the vehicle back to the catch-a-ride, then that unlocks those parts. So there are things like shields, there are skins, and there are other things for your vehicle to personalize it for your own.
But you have to hijack it first.
You do have to hijack it to get it.
Nothing says post-apocalyptic wasteland like ripping someone out of their vehicle and driving it over them.
I mean, it's half the fun, really.
Of
course.
Sure.
I really love the Cyclone that we got to see at the first gameplay hands-on opportunity. It's such a unique-looking vehicle. A little challenging to get the hang of on those tight corners, but
it turns on a dime. Yeah, it's really maneuverable. But once you get the hang of it, it's sweet. You can corner like that's amazing.
And of course, super fun for co-op opportunities. I have lots of fond memories about driving around with my buddies because I always need to be the driver.
Right. I
don't trust anybody else navigating the world because they always get lost. But you guys have made substantial improvements in the mini-map since the original Borderlands.
That is actually I'm a huge nerd for exploration, and so I was glad when the team got together. We talked about, you know, creating a fog of discovery in the mini-map that allowed you to see exactly where you've been. It wasn't to hide anything. It's only, this is where I've been. And so people can find all the like little secrets and nooks and crannies. Part of those crew challenges that I mentioned with Claptrap, they're hidden around the world, right? And I want people to be able to go out and explore and just have a great time. There'll be some people who, you know, they'll rush through things. And then there are people like me who are like, what's over here, what's over here, what's over here? Because, you know, I get distracted.
Well, it's a great opportunity when you're playing with your friends because, I mean, we've all been there when you're in a co-op story-based experience where you're playing some of the same missions over and over again to be like, hey, I'm just going to go right over here and see what kind of collectibles I can find.
Yeah. Oh, we're seeing Moe's right now.
Awesome.
This is Iron Bear. And I don't know if you can hear the doot, but that's her ability to lock on with those missiles. Those missiles can lock onto one target, like you can shoot all of your missiles on one target, or you can lock onto multiple targets so that, you know, just basically it's a sweep across.
It's like coming back to the conversation we had earlier. I mean, we talked about, you know, switching out the hard points, but we didn't talk about augments. I mean, there's a whole other layer of customization you can do. Like the missile lock-on is not something you get with the default missile, but later on, you can unlock an augment for the Vanquish rocket pod that allows that lock-on to happen. So if you'd rather just fire, you know, burst volley at the beginning, you can have that, or you can run that homing feature, lock-on homing feature, which is really sweet.
I thought it was really neat the way that the augment system really builds in these passive abilities to kind of make you feel even more powerful than the active skill tree systems do, and how some of them, when we were going through it, like you can activate them on one tree and then you can swap over to another active skill, but you still get the benefit of those augments.
That's right. Yeah. Well, now augments will go with the action skill itself. It's the passives that actually carry between the characters. So, that was super important, is making sure that the character in the passives, you know, always played the way you want to play. Like I said, that bottomless mags one. There's another one, the Demolition Woman for Moe's, which is just all about explosions, you know. So we have a few explosions here and there in the game.
Oh, just a few in Borderlands 3?
A little bit.
Oh, man, it's crazy. I mean, my favorite we've shown a couple of times is an augment called Daka Bear, where when Moe's goes into Iron Bear, if you're playing co-op, your co-op buddy can actually jump up on the back of Iron Bear and mount it like a turret while you're still going around driving the Iron Bear. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's super fun.
That sounds amazing.
It is, yeah, absolutely. We've watched people do that. We have, you know, an internal team that runs a group through, you know, that does what we call truth testing, but it's basically user research to play the game. And I remember seeing one of the people the first time they realized that, they're like,
what?
Because they didn't know. They just ran up to it and
And that's
tried
what they
it.
did
Yeah.
for the next 3 days. It was it was great.
Well,
So much fun.
Yeah, and what's really cool about the way that you guys have diversified the customization within the skill trees is that you can have a whole team of Moses, right?
That's right.
But they can all play a little bit differently because you can all pick different active skills.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, that was definitely a goal. Is like, if we do have people who want to play Mose, at the same time, they can play completely different Moses. And I know we've talked about this before, but also you don't have to be the same level. If your friend is playing more than you do and they're level 45 and you're level 25, just play together. The game will handle all the numbers and you'll both get weapons and gear that's appropriate to you.
Well, and it also seems like as well, I mean, just with that functionality as well as just seeing what Mo's option is, you guys have really made sure to keep up the fact that co-op is a thing in Borderlands 3, and that still needs to be a forefront if players want to play with their friends.
Yeah, we want to empower all the different ways you can play. Co-op is certainly very, very important. We still support up to 4-player co-op online. We still support split-screen couch co-op, so 2-player couch co-op to do that, because we know a lot of players just love to sit on the couch and play with their friends. And we've even thought, we were talking about some social features here at E3 that are really cool. Like, if you're a single player, you just want to play by yourself, you don't want to have the pressure of that. We even have some cool ways of kind of like asynchronous cooperation. Like, if your friends sell loot, sell guns and stuff to their vending machines in their game, there's a chance it could show up in the vending machines in your game and you can buy it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh, wow, that's
Right,
amazing.
definitely. Yeah.
That's super cool.
It's little things like that, and I mean, if that was a feature, we had to work on it. But those little things help people like see the bigger community is there, so they're like, okay, well maybe I will try it, maybe I will go play it. Again, I hope it's a great experience solo, but I love playing this game cooperatively. I think that's where it really starts to sing.
My favorite.
Borderlands 1, I still have, my brother is 5 years younger than me, and when Borderlands first came out, my experience with Borderlands was playing with my little brother. So hearing you say that's fantastic and hearing the co-op things, just because that was a huge piece of my younger days with my family myself. So.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, gentlemen, this has been such a treat to have you come by. I'm super pumped. I know Jump is pumped as well. Borderlands 3 looks excellent. And when can people get their hands on it again? What's that fancy release date?
That is September 13th, 2019. It's a Friday the 13th. And I don't want to give people a soap before it, but I think we have a program called a VIP program as well.
That's right. And on Borderlands.com, you can go there, and it's a VIP program. You can do some things to earn points before the game releases that will translate into in-game rewards and items when the game is out. I think there's a special code for Facebook.
There is. It's Facebook VIP.
Facebook VIP, so go to
That's
Borderlands.com.
amazing.
There you go.
Write
in
it
that
down,
code.
everybody.
There you go.
Who doesn't like free loot? It's the best. Well, thanks so much, you guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed the rest of your E3 here this week.
you so much.
And we've got lots more content for you right here on the Facebook gaming stage. We'll be right back.